Hey gang, and welcome to another edition of the Sermonette. I'm Ian Allen, and it's a pleasure once again to join you in your YouTube living room. I wanted to talk today about a man named Job. A great man of the Bible who was well known and had a lot of fame. Lived coincidentally the same time as Abraham. Very much like Abraham, had everything going right for him. A lot of land, had a big house, a big family. Lots of wealth, ton of animals, and lots of servants to take care of his land and animals. He had everything going for him, and he was in good graces with God. He was a man of integrity, of truth. But one day all the blessing was turned around, was taken away. His children were tragically killed when the house they were dining in collapsed on them, killing them all. His servants, all but a few, killed. His animals taken or destroyed. Crops burned, everything but his house. All this news hit him like a whirlwind. He fell to his knees and humbled himself before the Lord, tearing his clothes. He was in a bad state. To make it worse, he got a bunch of sores on him. And he regretted the day he was born. And he spent most of the book of Job drowning himself in self-pity while trying to defend God, putting himself in pride. And to top it off, some friends try and help him out. What do? They try asking him what he did to make God mad to punish him. Which, in fact, he had done nothing wrong. He is merely being put to the test. One of his friends, though, stood up for God. Job didn't really do as good of a job standing for God. He didn't blame God at all. He focused too much on himself, though. With all this stuff going on, Job was thinking that he could answer for God, thinking he could answer for himself. He was being very prideful. While he knew God was there, he didn't fully know. And he tried to, in his pride, he got wrapped up. Well, as it comes from the book of Job, chapter 38, 1 through 11, this is what the Lord had to say to Job. If you need to pause the video to follow along, be my guest. I would love for us to read the word together, and I pray God speaks to you through his word. Then the Lord answered Job out of the storm. He said, "Who is this that darkens my counsel with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you will answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what were its footings set, or who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness. When I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place. When I said, this far you may come and no further. Here where your proud waves halt." God humbles Job right then, right there. He goes on to also put the three friends in his place, and he acknowledges Job did no wrong except for one thing. He forgot to honor God. He worshipped him, and he was honoring him, but he turned the attention on himself. He got wrapped up in and he forgot who he was. God gives and he takes away. Job, we in the same way, when we have a tremendous amount of blessing from God, when it's taken away like that, we get wrapped up in our self-pity and pride. We want to make excuses as why it happened. And sometimes we don't want to look to see how we can grow closer to God. We want to just be wrapped up. God wants us to draw closer to him. and humble ourselves before him. There are times he will jab us in the side and get our attention like, hey, over here. Quit looking at yourself, look at me. That's what God did in this case. He questioned Job right then and there. He's like, who do you think you are? And he told him exactly who he was. And he asked Job a lot of questions throughout the book. And he made sure his 3 friends answered too. And he commended the 4th friend, who stood up for him, when Job should have been totally standing up for him. Job repented, and he did indeed humble himself, and he recognized his place compared to God. So often in our world today, we don't see a lot of that. When bad things happen, we want to blame God for it. We wonder where he's at. Well, here's the truth. Trials happen, storms come, but God is still there, and he wants us to humble ourselves and draw close to him. He will comfort us and will take care of us. We pass the test. We endure the trial that comes in life. He never causes the trials. They come because we are his children. He allows them to make us stronger, to make us all the more close to him, to love him more, to learn how to trust him. And he blesses us. Not in ways we may think, but he blesses us tremendously. He did the same thing with Job. Job received 1,000 times more than what he had in the beginning, after proving his faithfulness to God and standing the test. When he finally humbled himself, God gave him back everything, 100-fold. You know, there are a lot of tests, and it's easy to get wrapped up in self-pity and that pride that comes from the blessing. But we need to remember, God's always there. We need to remember he's God and we're not. We need to draw to him and not get wrapped up in ourselves. Run to him when the trials come. Run to him the times of trial and torment. He'll lift you up and he'll bless you for it. And you'll be closer to him for it too. Well, gang, I love you all. It's been fun. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Shalom, Lord willing.